Hello my lovelies, and welcome back to Let's Play Bloodborne, and welcome back to the Chalice Dungeons, where, once again, we're fighting this swine. I've just added this in to show you, this is the last time you fight the abhorrent beast, and this is the hardest of the battles with him. Before, we had that massive arena to fight him in, so we had space to maneuver. This version of him is a freaking nightmare. He really is. Oh, I'm joined, by the way, by my cat, Rufus, who is actually sat on the back of my chair right now. So if you do hear a sort of low-level rumbling, that's actually not from the game, that's Rufus purring. That's not an abhorrent beast, although she can be when she wants to be. Not quite the same. For one thing, Rufus is a lot more vicious than this thing, as many of the neighbourhood cats can attest to. But yes, this is the last of the abhorrent beasts. We don't encounter this thing again in the Chalice Dungeons. I don't think, anyway. If we do, I'm probably not going to fight it, because it's a long and arduous fight however you encounter it. And it takes a lot of doing. You know, as I said, I've never found, like, a good tactic for this thing other than blatting it from afar with lots of long-range weaponry. That seems to work. Anything else, forget it, because you can't stagger it, you can't visceral it, it's a nightmare, this thing. As I said, many people account this as one of the hardest bosses in the game. I'm not so sure about that. Myself, I would say Ludwig. Ludwig is a lot harder than this. And we'll be fighting Ludwig reasonably soon. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to do him. I've never actually defeated Ludwig on my own, so without help. So, let's see, shall we? Actually, this being New Game Plus, there are two bosses in the Hunter's Nightmare DLC that are really bloody difficult. There's Ludwig the Accursed and Lawrence, the first Vicar. And Lawrence, I find, is much harder on New Game Plus. Much harder on New Game Plus. Ludwig is hard because he doesn't have any pattern. He's very, very difficult to preempt or predict. And that's what makes him difficult. Lawrence does have a pattern, but he is so powerful. He can kill you in one very quick combo. If he catches you in a combo, certainly on New Game Plus, you're dead. You are completely dead. You can't afford him to hit you at all on New Game Plus, because if he does, you're done. Third phase of the fight, this is where he gets really difficult. This is where he starts doing his leap attack, and it is a nightmare. You've got to keep him at a very particular distance. If you don't, he'll start spamming this leap attack, that attack there, and if he catches you with it, boy does he do damage. It's unbelievable, it really is. It's a very, very, very nasty fight, this one, and I can see why, for the most part, they've consigned him to the Chalice Dungeons. You do encounter him in the main game, but there's a trick in the main game. As we saw, if you fight him in the main game, all you need to do is scuttle away inside that nearby corridor, which he can't come down, and then just blat him with poison knives until he drops. It's actually incredibly easy. But this version, no, he's a pain. He's an absolute pain. I just thought I'd put him in here to show you how an environment can actually make a fight very different. Maneuvering around him in this environment is phenomenally tricky. It may not look it, but it is phenomenally hard. I can guarantee you. Oh, he caught me there. He caught me completely off guard there. And that's all it takes. If he catches you, if he knocks you off your rhythm, you're kind of done. It's very difficult to evade him after that. It's that lack of staggering. Almost every enemy in this damn game staggers to some degree. Even Ludwig and Lawrence stagger. This guy doesn't. It's a really interesting, unusual mechanic that he's got going on. my only real advice is load up on anything long range you can get. Any arcane weapon, any poisoned weapon, any fire-based projectile, anything you can get. Any gun you've got that's been upgraded significantly, load up on it. The church cannon is very good against him. If you can wield it, and if you've upgraded it, the church cannon can make short work of this guy. I've seen some plays on YouTube where people have upgraded the church cannon to its maximum state, and then have used bone ash powered shots to just obliterate him. Completely obliterate him. Unfortunately, my hunter here can't wield the church cannon. He hasn't got the stats to do it, so we've got to take the long route, I'm afraid. Oh! Yes, there we go. There we go. I love the way anyone afflicted with the blood curse becomes something different. They all become something unique. They're not all just werewolves. They're not all just lycanthropes, you know? It depends on lots of factors, like who they are, what they are, like the vicars. He's dead! Yay! There we go. That was a hard-fought victory, and I feel very good for having done it. I can tell you. He killed me a couple of times. A couple of times, I'd say a handful of times. Quite a few times. Anyway, I'll complete that Chalice dungeon later. For now, we're going to go back to Yargul and finish that particular area. So, off we go. Back to where the dark rituals are occurring. Don't worry, there's lots of stuff to do. Yargul is near the end of the game, but we're not going to move straight on to the Nightmare of Mensis. We're actually going to go and do some of the stranger areas of the game after this. Like Canehurst, for example. We're going to go and have a go at that. Martyr Logarius, one of the harder bosses in the game, certainly on New Game Plus. Always gives me trouble, Martyr Logarius. He's difficult to get a bead on. And can do lots of arcane damage. He's got in fact, he's probably, alongside Ebrietas, he's one of the most powerful arcane entities in the game. Oh, what was that? Something just died, and then came back because of the bell-ringing woman. I don't know what happened there. Speaking of the bell-ringing woman, we've got to kill them all, because otherwise they are going to be pains. In fact, I would say you can't do this area at this point unless you kill the bell-ringing women. You can try. Ooh. Oh, something's going on in there. Don't want to know what. Don't want to know what. Okay. Yeah, if you don't kill the bell-ringing women, I just don't know what to do in this area. Now, these things are significant. These burning corpses, they're actually really significant. What you need to, if you listen, you can hear the keening of magic around them. What you need to do is, behold, a pale blood sky. What you need to do is lead these things onto them. These are kind of the byproducts of the rituals of Mensis and of whatever cult is in operation here in Yargul. This is what happens. It burns them for a start, but it also puts out whatever magic is consuming these corpses. And when that happens, it makes the boss much easier. It's a really weird little thing. I don't know quite why it happens, but if you can take out those burning... There are only two. If you can take out those burning corpses by leading an enemy onto them, it makes the boss easier. So, worth doing. I love these things. They're some of the most grotesque enemies in the game. They are... The implication is that they are the byproducts of what happened. You know the people that the Snatchers took? These are the byproducts. This is what happened to them. Whatever ritual they were used in, it did this to them. It fused them together. There's a dead Snatcher. They're all useless now, the Snatchers, so they've all been killed. And they've all got pretty good weapons on them, items on them. Oh god. Oh god. Ah! Shit! When you don't know that's going to happen, it's actually quite scary. It's just horrific, isn't it? Properly Lovecraftian, this. To think that whatever the cult here in Yargul did, or is doing, resulted in that. It's like, bloody hell. If you look around, it's also affected the architecture. There are corpses and bodies bound into the architecture as a result of these experiments. It's gross. Aha! They are tough, these things. If they grab you, they can kill you in one hit. Depending on like the state of your hunter, they can kill you in one hit. They're quite brutal, so you need to be quite careful. It's best to take them down one at a time if you can. I'm going to need one alive though, so I can take out the burning corpse. Yay! Oh, he got me! Oh, this is gross. Oh! Oh! Oh, that's horrible. That's grotesqueness in and of itself, isn't it? This is, I mean, Yargul is where the game just goes off the edge. It really is. It just goes into Cronenbergian body horror. It's awful. It's just brilliantly awful. And it's really where the Lovecraftian elements of the horror come into their own. I mean, I love the fact that the game doesn't tell you about this either. It just implies. You don't know what to do. There's nothing, there's no text, there's nothing that tells you what these corpses are. You just know they're significant because of their placement, and the sound around them makes them seem significant. It's a weird puzzle that has no in-game explanation. I love that. If they ever make a Bloodborne 2 or a remastered Bloodborne, more of that, please. More of that. Because I love it. I love that stuff. I think it's brilliant. It's oblique, it's strange. It's totally optional. You don't have to do it. You can just fight the boss in its normal state if you want to. But it's just an added lovely little extra. Love it. Love it to bits. Right, now we need to go back up, because there's an alternative way to approach the boss. I don't know whether you noticed, but when we were going down, there's a hollow that we can leap through here, a shortcut. Now if we take this route, this is the much better route to approach the boss by. For one thing, it grants you access to two of the bell ringing women that you otherwise can't reach. So you've just got to deal, if you don't take this route, if you just go through the gate that was sealed beforehand, you're going to have to deal with the monsters they summon and resummon endlessly. Which is not good. Not good at all. We're going to... Scrabbly! Kill the Scrabbly! Always worth taking out, because they've usually got something good on them. Yay! Bloodstone chunk, that's good. In fact, again, this is another... Oh, these things are vile. They have the same attack patterns as the werewolves, but they're werewolves that are like comprised of melded together corpses. So I think the implication is that they are byproducts of the rituals of Mensis and of the Yargul cult, which have incorporated the werewolves. They've incorporated the corpses of people who have been afflicted by the blood, which is really cool, isn't it? It's gross and brilliant. As long as they're really scary looking, really intimidating, but this is weird. This is so weird. Inspect the bath. Alright, why not? But as long as you treat them like the werewolves, you'll be fine. They've got all the same weaknesses, they've got all the same move sets. So we've now teleported to a different area of Yargul. So clearly these were set up by the cult, I'd assume. This bell ringing woman, she's very difficult to get access to unless you take this alternative route. And she is a pain. The enemies she summons and resummons are absolute nightmares if you try to tackle this area without killing her. Look there, you can see the corpses bound into the walls and everything. It's really horrific. It's like whatever's happening here is so profane. It's so unholy and infernal. It's corrupting reality. It's distorting reality around it. It's so cool. This shit does it for me every time. This is my kind of horror. And what I love about Bloodborne is it's kind of like a roadmap of different types of horror. So you've got the lycanthropic stuff, you've got the Lovecraftian stuff, you've got Cronenbergian body horror, you've got sort of conspiracy theory, extra-dimensional alien horror, you've got the gothic horror section, which is Canehurst, which is coming up, which is vampires and castles and whatnot. I love it, and yet it intermingles it also. You've even got folk horror, you know, with the Forbidden Woods area. It's all these different types of horror all intermingled together. Metaphysical horror, you know, it's so cool. Look at this. Oh, that's gross. It's like the game luxuriates in portraying abjection, suffering, like the kind of suffering that can only occur in a metaphysical way, you know? It's like otherworldly suffering. I love that. I love it to bits. You'll find this shit all through my fiction as well. So how can I not love this? How can I not love Bloodborne? It's like my fiction in video game form, you know? How can I not love it? How can I not be inspired by it? You see him flapping over there? That's something that happens in Bloodborne for some reason. It's a slight glitch. The corpses often sort of spasm and twitch, which I actually find rather amusing myself. Okay. Also, what's very hard about this area, if you're doing it for the first time, is working your way through and killing the boss. It's really difficult. The boss itself is not hard, but getting there with enough blood vials, getting there with enough health and whatnot, that's hard. Now you see, if we'd come in the usual way, we'd have had to go all through them. We'd have had to fight all of them, and they are pains. They're really difficult. But now we don't have to. Look, as we get closer to what's being summoned or concocted, reality is warping even further. It's becoming even more profane. I love this shit so much. When I first came here, I was like, this is kind of the area where I went, yep, I'm sold. This game is amazing. This game is probably going to be my favourite for a very long time. I mean, in terms of raw appreciation, there are not many games that equal it for me. As I've said, Pathologic 2 is definitely up there. Maybe Darkwood, which I also love to bits. I can't think of many others that are on the same level. I really can't. Summoning Point there, if you want to face this boss with an ally. Okay, let's go. I'll give you fair warning, loves. This boss is fucking gross. It's the grossest thing in a game full of gross things. So here it is. This is the culmination of whatever ritual the cult of Yargul are trying to perform. These are sort of like the high priestesses of the bell-ringing women, and what they are doing is culminating the ritual. And I'm not sure what the implication of this is, whether they summon a great one, or if they have somehow synthetically cultivated a great one. They certainly summon something really profane, but because it's a creature made from pain, a creature made from suffering, that's what it is. It's kind of like an abortive god. It's so amazing. I love it. The One Reborn, it's called. I love it. I love it to bits. This is what they were trying to bring into Yharnam. And I don't know what the implications of that are. What it would have done if you don't kill it. I don't know. Because, fortunately, obviously you kill it in this newborn state. So it's not really as powerful as maybe it would have become. But my guess is its corruption would have spread and its madness would have spread throughout Yharnam and maybe the wider world. Who knows, you know? Before you tackle it, by the way, kill the bell-ringing women, because if you don't, it makes it 10 times as hard. The bell-ringing women will not only hurl projectiles down at you, they'll also heal the one reborn. So it's like, ugh. Take them out first, always. Again, the storytelling is amazing. It's amazing without saying a damn word. It feels phenomenally epic what's going on here. And yet, there's nothing. There's no narrative or anything. Ha! Gotcha! And that did bugger all, okay. Look at it. It's so fucking gross. It's... I mean, what is it? It's an it. It's a that, you know? And I love the fact that it's summoned, it's reborn from some other reality, somewhere beyond the cosmos, beyond the blood moon. It's the product of all the suffering that has been cultivated here in Yargul. It's the child of all that pain and abjection and disgrace. And to think that's the god they wanted, you know? It's like, oh, really? Look at it kicking out. It's like, oh my god. Doesn't like fire, by the way. Does not like fire. But be very wary. It's got a very nasty magic attack. An AoE attack, area of effect. And if it catches you, it's very difficult. Also, that vomit attack is a pain. It's got me, look. It's caught me in the vomit, and it nearly kills me there. It nearly had me there. It is amazing, this thing. In terms of its grotesquerie, it's like the whole imperative is right, we want the worst thing you can imagine. That's its AoE attack, and it did almost kill me. Did you see? If I didn't have the outfit on that I had, that would have killed me. And you've got to... oh, look at that. Look at that. It's so horrible. This thing gives a lot of the monsters in Silent Hill a run for its money, I'm telling you. In terms of grotesquerie, there's not much like it. Not much like it at all. It's brilliantly awful. And it's nearly dead, which is nice. I mean, it's not a hard boss anyway. Down it goes. Prey slaughtered. Okay. So, this here that it was protecting is the College of Mensis. The college that was set up in emulation of Bergenworth, no less. So, I don't think we're going to go to the college yet, because that is well near the end of the game. What we're going to do, we're going to go and do some of the other stuff first. There's things we can do before we go there. For one thing, there's another boss here in Yargul that we can fight. It's actually at a crossroads in between Yargul and... where is it now? Yargul and Lower Yharnam. We've got a lot of blood echoes to spend as well. A lot of blood echoes. And, I mean, at this point... I mean, it's not arbitrary what we upgrade, but it doesn't matter as much. Any upgrade is good at this point. Just pour them into whatever statistics we're trying to favour. Good. I think the Holy Moonlight Sword is probably going to be our mainstay throughout the game, to be honest. Oh, we can upgrade the Cost Parasite. That's good. I love the Cost Parasite. Love it. When we get to the Hunter's Nightmare, assuming we get through Ludwig, there is an item we can get that when you wear it in conjunction with the Cost Parasite actually transforms your hunter into something else. And you'll see when we do it, it's going to be a lot of fun. And it gives you an entirely other moveset. It's one of the rare items in the game that actually transforms your hunter utterly and changes the way you play the game. It's really interesting. Again, if as and when they make a Bloodborne 2, more of that. More transformations. I mean, I've said it before, but I think I would love a system whereby the different types of blood that you imbibe, like the kin blood, the beast blood, all of that alters your hunter. It changes the way they are, the way they look, the way they fight, the way they act. That would be amazing if they could institute that, because that would make leveling up a very different process. Okie dokie, right. Now, this boss can be problematic depending on how you approach it. There's a much harder version of it in the Chalice dungeons, but it's not so bad. At this level and at this stage, it's not so bad. It might kill us a couple of times. Right, let's just peg it. Don't need to fight these guys anymore. Whatever they were trying to do, it's done. It's over. We don't need to bother with them. I mean, my god, they need to make a Bloodborne 2. They really did. VatiVidya recently did a brilliant video where he ran a competition whereby fans of Bloodborne could produce artwork and concepts for a potential Bloodborne 2, and I'm telling you, go and check out that video. Some of the concepts people have come up with are frigging amazing. Ah! Werewolf thingy. Not quite a werewolf. Anyway, yes, we fought this before. We've seen the boss before, and it slaughtered us. Dark Beast Parl. This time, well, maybe not the first time, but we are going to take it down. We are going to take it down. He's actually quite tricky, Parl. He's got a very weird moveset. Very weird moveset that makes him... Oh, I hate this attack so much. That attack is a pain. I hate it. He's one of those beast bosses that has a really weird moveset that makes him difficult to target. So you're often swiping at thin air with him. Brilliant monster though. I mean, he looks amazing. And the way he moves is just gorgeous. I wonder, I mean, I'd love to know what he is. Oh, fuck. Given that there's another version of him called the Laran Dark Beast. And that's, yeah, Dark Beast. What does that mean? What are they? Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, god damn it. Oh, that's a good shot. That's a beautiful shot of him. Look at that. Brilliant! Oh, I love it when you get those close-ups. Love it. We'll do him next time. Next time, my loves, I promise, we'll get him. Famous last words, of course. I mean, I must admit, I'm doing the Laran Dark Beast at the moment, and it's way harder than Parl. Oh my god, it's way harder than Parl is. Oh, there's a Scrabbly here! I thought I killed them all. Well, that was worth coming back for. Hello, you. There's one of the students of Mensis, who was sat here to conduct the ritual, no doubt. Bloodstone Chunk, that was worth it. The Amygdala is still here, so they're still having fun. Good to know. Ow! Always a danger when you're running away from the monsters rather than facing them. But they're going to chase you and hurt you. It does happen. And some of them can chase you quite a long way as well. Ew, look at him stalking past the door there. There. We're going to take him out? May as well take him out. Yeah, gotcha. They're not that tough. They've got a lot more health than your normal werewolves. A lot more health. Excuse me. There's one of the dead snatchers, look. Well, they did well out of this, didn't they? They performed their function of taking people off of the streets of Yharnam for the ritual and then ended up being murdered by it. Yeah, Yardgul, the darkness of Yardgul is unfathomable. It really is. Hello, you! Oh, that leaping attack, I hate that so much. It's weird, what you've got to do is go for the legs with this guy. You can't really hit his torso, so you've got to go for the legs. Which is easier said than done. Or the head. When he's got his head low to you, go for the head. Hates fire, this guy, as well, so if you've got any like fire-based weaponry, good against him, really good. Obviously, bolt-based weaponry is useless against him, because he's a bolt-based monster. Ah! Look at his tail, it's gorgeous, isn't it? I like the way he's simultaneously undead and a beast. I don't know what that implies. And the fact that he's located here, near to Lower Yharnam, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, and near Yargul as well, of course. So maybe he's one of the early experiments, I don't know. Oh yes, if you can get him down like that, it's brilliant. You can do so much friggin' damage to him by getting him down like that. It's just very difficult to do. Uh-oh, here we go. Oh, he hated that! The arcane attack there, he hated that! God, we're doing mega damage to him here! Jeez! What is going on? He's actually much less aggressive than the Loran Darkbeast version of himself. There he goes! Prey slaughtered! And now we can open the gateway between here and Lower Yharnam. If you can kill him early on and come up into Lower Yharnam from behind, Dura, the hunter who's on the tower, blasting you with that Gatling gun, he becomes your friend. He actually becomes friendly to you, and it makes manoeuvring through Lower Yharnam much easier. I've never done it myself, I've never done it that way. I always like to come into Lower Yharnam through the other way. Old Yharnam, rather. But, hey-ho. I haven't been here for a while. Good long while. I mean, Old Yharnam you don't even need to do until this point if you don't want to. It's really weird in that regard. Okie dokes. Right, we are going to go to Cainhurst, I think. If you remember, we went and got the Cainhurst summons from Yosefska's clinic. That is what gives us access. So here we are, back in Henwick Charnel Lane, of all places. This is where the crossroads to Cainhurst once stood. And it's still here, albeit in much dilapidated form. This is another one of those weird areas. It's a puzzle that I don't know how you would know how to do it unless you did it by accident, or B, you looked up a walkthrough. It's so obscure. You need to, first of all, you need to find Yosefska's clinic, the back entrance, which is really difficult to find in and of itself. Then you need to pick up the Cainhurst summons, which is a letter that gives you, it's an invitation to attend the court of Cainhurst, essentially. And then you need to know to bring it here, to this area, these crossroads, for it to work. It's like, how would you know that? But I love how oblique it is. I love the obscurity of it. It's so weird. So this is where you need to go. The clue is the presence of executioners. Executioners hunt vile bloods, and the fact that there's so many around here suggests a Cainhurst influence or presence. That's the clue. That, and the fact that if you go to the... Remember when we went to the edge of the broken bridge that's up to the left? You can see Cainhurst Castle. It's the old bridge to Cainhurst that was broken in order to prevent the curse of the vile bloods getting to Yharnam. You know, as though it matters at this point. So what you need to do is take the summons to this here, this plinth. Here we go. And it will activate this cutscene. straight from the beginning of Bram Stoker's Dracula. This is such a blatant... I mean, look at it. That is one of the first scenes from Bram Stoker's Dracula, when Jonathan Harker is picked up by Dracula's coach. It's brilliant. I love it. And, you know, the game never once says the word vampire. It never once says the word vampire. But they are. That's what the vile bloods are. They've been affected by the blood that was taken from Byrgenwerth in a very different way. So presumably, either the blood interacted differently with them, or it was a different type of blood from a different Great One, or a different beast that they imbibed originally. Look at this. It's so sinister. It's so weird. This is the gothic horror section of the game, and I love it. That coach is gorgeous, isn't it? So we've had our werewolves, now we're going to have vampires. And ghosts as well, spectres. Brilliant. Again, when I first played the game, did not know this was here. Missed it out completely. Completely missed it. Did not know it was here. Much to my chagrin, you know? Lovely new weather effect as well. We've got snow going on around Castle Cainhurst. Look at the state of those horses. It's a wonder they can actually move at all, isn't it? But, do you remember the bridge? Wasn't the bridge broken? It was. And it gets weirder. It actually gets creepier. Look, the bridge is broken. But more than that, that is Castle Cainhurst. Isn't it amazing? It's Dracula's castle. It is totally Dracula's castle. But look. Oh! The horses are dead and frozen. And the coach is frozen. And it's been here, clearly been here for centuries. And the bridge is broken. So what carried us here? Ha! Love it. Love it! Love it! The game doesn't make a muchness of it. It just happens. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And the gate opens as though we're invited. It's the inverse of the vampire. You know, a vampire has to be invited in. The vampires are inviting us in. Another interesting thing about Cainhurst, it's a matriarchal society. If you look at all the statues of women are taller and more beautiful than the statues of men. The women ruled Cainhurst and still do. It's a bit like the court of Lamia from Age of Sigmar, Warhammer. In that particular mythology, the females rule. And the males in Cainhurst are given much lesser status, I can tell you. Much lesser status. But wait till you see what the blood has done to them. It's not pleasant, I can tell you. Numbing Mist, that's a really weird... Oh, look, this is what it's done to them. They have degenerated over time and become these bloated, tick-like monstrosities that are just bloated with blood. This is what it's done to them. Down the centuries, the beast blood has transformed them into these things. It's they're like ticks. It's vile. They've got such a brilliant animation and set of moves, these things. They're actually quite tough as well. They're quite difficult to deal with. They can vomit blood at you. They can drain blood from you with those long proboscis-like tongues. And they can leap at you as well. They can kick out at you with those long back legs. And there's different types. Some of them are bigger than others. They're more bloated. Some of them are more withered. Ugh. Oh god, there's another one. Look, there's one down there in the valley. They are not nice. I love the fact that Cainhurst, you get the impression Cainhurst is like a very different society to Yharnam. It's linked to it in significant ways, but it's not the same. This is a much more aristocratic society, maybe even an older society than Yharnam was. There's one of the more withered ones. Look at it kick out. Brilliant. And there's one of the more bloated ones. That one there. They're feeding at the moment, which is gross. Oh, listen to them. Ugh. You know that notion of vampires as being like sexy and eternally young and graceful? Yeah, Bloodborne doesn't go for that, obviously. And of course the Vile Bloods were hunted to near extinction by Martyr Ligarius and his lot. The only ones left are the ones that were sealed here, and one or two rare examples in the main game. Ah ha 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 ha! Gonna have you, my dear. Definitely gonna have you. Hiya! Oh yes, that was satisfying. That was phenomenally satisfying, I have to say. Right then, let's deal with these guys, shall we? There we are. Numbing Mist, that's good. I don't know why it keeps throwing Numbing Mist at us. It's not that useful in this area, but there are certain bosses it'll be very useful for. Any swine that can heal itself, that stuff is gold for. A lot of the hunters, actually. If we do encounter other hunters, particularly invaders, other players, it will be quite useful because it will prevent them from healing. This area is actually really tough when you first come to it. These things, the reason they're dying so quickly is because my weapon is upgraded to the nth degree and my hunter is very, 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 very high level at this point. Otherwise, this area is a pest. It takes such a lot of time to get right, to understand where everything is and what the layout is and how to tackle them all. It's actually really tricky. More Numbing Mist? It keeps throwing that Numbing Mist at us. Don't know why. Okay, now we are going to have to go down into the valley. There's some stuff down there that I would like. But there's also another type of enemy down there, which is slightly frustrating. Hello, you! Right, I'm going to blat you. Hiya! Oh, it didn't do as much damage as I would have hoped. Oh well. I love the way they burst. Little blood boils. It's a slightly different take on the vampire, you know, rather than being bat-like, they are tick-like. Makes as much sense as anything, I suppose. And it has a sort of fittingly corrupt ethos about it, you know? Ticks, like a lot of creatures, being emblematic of disease, you know? These things, these worms, these things are pains, and they can kill you really easily. Individually they're not so bad, but there's a lot of them down here, and when they attack you more than one at once, they're really hard. We've seen these things before. They come out of the bodies of the Loran beasts when you don't kill them with fire or viscerals. They're sort of infesting them. I love what they imply, the way that there's an entire ecosystem here in Cainhurst that's entirely vampiric. Ooh, they nearly got me then. You see, they're hard. They're really tough, and there's a lot of them. They're actually quite difficult to hit as well. A lot of weapons, their movements is such that, see, like that they can't hit them effectively. It's quite tricky. But I do want that, whatever it is. Yeah, Beast Cutter's probably going to be a better idea here. Yeah, definitely. It can definitely hit them easier. And much swifter than the Holy Moonlight Blade. Oops, somebody died there. There we go. Ugh, God, they're vile. Oh, it's a tempering bloodstone. Oh, that's alright. That's not great. Certainly not worth almost dying for, but whatever. Okay, we've cleared the courtyard. We can now actually enter Cainhurst Castle. Take a look at what shenanigans are going on in there. I mean, Cainhurst has been remote from Yharnam for centuries, to the point whereby it's become legendary. A lot of people don't even believe Cainhurst is real, you know? It's a matter of dark myth and fable. And that's because of the work of Martyr Ligarius. He's actually enacted a ritual that has magically cut Canehurst off from the normal flow of time and space. Look at this. This is a very different environment from all the others we've seen. For one thing, it's beautiful. It's kept well. Look at the mirrored floor. These are what's left of the servants of Canehurst, and they are still, to this day, cleaning the floors and whatnot. They're immortal because of the imbibing of the blood. They're vampires. They can't die. But look, there are also the ghosts of the nobility. They're still here. So we've got ghosts as well as vampires, and in fact, the ghosts of vampires. It's almost as though their immortality has sustained them in a very dark and unpleasant way. Rather than keeping them eternally young or whatever, it's actually anchored them here as ghosts, as spectres. And listen to the weeping, it's really, oof. It's a place of suffering, is Canehurst Castle. They are everywhere, these guys. And will manifest in like a mob around you. So you need to be quite careful. That said, another great area to level up. Everything here gives really good blood echoes. So definitely worth having a few runs through if you want to level up your character. What have we got here? Oh, one of the weapons, the Reiterpallasch, or however you pronounce it. Good weapon. It's a blood weapon, if I remember correctly. But yeah, sorry about that period of silence there, my loves. If I happened to cut out, my damn microphone cut out while I was trying to record there, which is slightly frustrating. Anywho, gotcha. These guys, I mean, I'm making it look easier than it is because I've done this like a million times. These guys are pains. Finding out how to approach them, very difficult, because what happens is they mob you. You go for one and then they all mob you at once. So you've got to be very, very, very careful indeed. Look at the one on the edge of the balcony here, the implication being that she committed suicide. See? And you can make her do it again. There we go. Bloodstone chunk, that's going to be useful. There's another type of vampire here, a much more sort of classically gothic style vampire, which are they're the degenerations of the male vampires, and they've become these blood-sucking bat-like gargoyle things. And they pose as gargoyles to sort of throw you off the scent. Well, we're seeing a lot of them actually. But they're worth actually hunting down because they can drop bloodstone chunks and twin bloodstone shards for upgrading your weapons, so they're pretty good. I love this area, I love it to bits. This dining hall is amazing. Oh, what feast was prepared here? You dread to think, don't you? Oh, look, the lights go out and here they come. Definitely a feast. But it may be us on the menu, yeah? I like the implication that this is Marta Logarius' work. The reason that they are ghosts and they're trapped here is because of the curse that Marta Logarius put on them. Being sealed away here from the rest of the world, they've just degenerated, they've faded to almost nothing. And now they're just these mad, vengeful ghosts. It's so cool, I love it. There's other versions of these spectres later as well. These are just the first versions of them. Look at these guys. The nobility of Canehurst. That one on the far right looks like Cain from the Legacy of Cain, and that may not be a coincidence. Given how many homages this game pays to comics and video games and all sorts of things, wouldn't surprise me if that's a deliberate homage. Okay. This is where we're going to encounter the gargoyle things. There's quite a few of them out here. Now, where are they? And they can be quite tricky. They hide amongst the statues looking like statues, so they can be quite difficult. Listen. Ah, there's one. Where is he? Ah, there he is. Not that tough, really. As long as you know where they are, and as long as... Look, there's one perched up there on the parapets, pretending to be a gargoyle. Great view of Canehurst from up here. There he is. Gotcha! Yeah. That was fun. Is he dead? Nope. Where is he? Where'd he go? He fell somewhere. And he didn't die because I didn't get the blood echo, so he's... Ah, there he is. Gotcha. Ooh, nice. Not a bloodstone chunk, but still quite nice. Okay. God, we've got a lot of blood echoes. A couple of levels there, I should think. Oh, we've come back through. Hang on, I got turned around somewhere, clearly. I love the coldness of this environment. It reminds me of some of the areas in Dark Souls, actually. There's Yharnam over there. There's Hemwick with the bridge, look. It all makes sense. Oh no, he's going to bite me. You wouldn't want my blood, mate. Considering, like, what's been in it. You wouldn't want my blood. God knows what it would do to you. It's a wonder that we're still human, all things considered. These guys are interesting. These are some of the surviving knights of Canehurst. You can have a really good duel with this guy if you let him get a hit off, that is. They can be quite tough. They've got these rapier weapons and they move like... They actually fight in a very particular style. That's like a fencing or dueling style. Very, very cool. You see them perched there? Yeah. Can push them over the edge if we hit them. There they go. Yeah. That's how you deal with them. Just knock them off the edge. Despite the wings, they don't fly too well. Executioner garb? That's actually pretty good. It's the stuff that Alfred is wearing. This library is very tricky. Very tricky. It is full of them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this shortcut, I'm going to activate it, go back to the Hunter's Dream, and get rid of all my blood echoes, I think. There we are. And go right back there now. So that... Oh, something just died. Wonderful. It's always good, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, why not? I've got many blood echoes. Quite a few levels there, which is good because we're going to be fighting Martyr Logarius not terribly long from now. Eek. Anywho, when we come back, my lovelies, that is exactly what we'll do. We will finish Canehurst, and... Oh, there she is. There's the doll. Hello.
Well, what is...
I desire to be leveled up. Yeah, we will finish Canehurst, and we will fight, I'm not saying necessarily defeat, but we'll fight Martyr Logarius.
Good hunter.
Difficult.
May you?
Just be prepared, he's hard, so it may take me a while. He's always given me trouble as Martyr Logarius. Alfred will be pleased when we murder his master. So, until then, my dears, bye-bye!